Oh, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video and welcome to an overcast day here in Pennsylvania. We're starting the vlog off up here at the Homestead. We're looking at a distribution of the fleet. We've got Lucifer here chilling. It's been not all that nice the last few days. You can tell that by the fact that my Corvette is still dirty. I've been very much driving it and enjoying it. It is a car, it's ceramic coated and it can get washed off. I'm hoping I can get it cleaned up a little bit later in the vlog, but that is not what we're here to talk about today, my friends. Today, we are talking about the fact that, well, the bonus prize giveaway for Dream Diesel giveaway number 17 is going to end on Tuesday. So if you're a gamer like me, I prefer Xbox over PlayStation, but don't tell anybody that I said that. I was at 10 Prestige back in the day on the original Call of Duty Modern Warfare. So is this man over here. You can say that we are somewhat gaming nerds of our times and we're gaming enthusiasts. So we wanted to throw in a few of the new sick consoles that I actually haven't even played yet, but I know that people are loving into the giveaway. So as a result of this week, if you get entered, not only do you get 5 times entries for that truck and the $30,000 that it comes with, but you also automatically get entered for a chance to win one of those 6 consoles, whether it be a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X. But mind you guys, that bonus period actually ends Tuesday night at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So just as a little FYI. I want to really quickly and sincerely apologize for the fact that all of these polished bullet antennas are already completely gone. We had a feeling that you guys were going to be excited about them, but I had no idea it was going to be to this level. We're working on replenishing that stock as quickly as we possibly can. Just remember, guys, these things can't get made overnight. We depend on a local machining company to actually cut these things out of billet aluminum, and it takes a little bit of time to perfect that craft of said 50 cal antenna, and then we actually get them polished. These things are hand polished. They are not chrome. There's a big difference between chrome and polish. Chrome is like this chrome grill right here on Lucifer. Hey, I love the L5P grill. It's just so clean with these 3 slots. But chrome never needs any maintenance ever. It's actually like a film that goes over plats. That's simple. Whereas our polished aluminum antennas are made out of the same material that the American Forces are made out of that we put on a lot of our trucks and the other billet wheel. They require maintenance. So just a little reminder to anybody that did grab one, do not cut and polish these things. They will not need that extent of maintenance. Just a little bit of hand polish will go a long way. I just don't want to see you guys cut these things down a layer and then remove our logo off of the side. This thing's holding up really sweet though, and it looks so sick. It's just one of those little details that goes a long way. How's the view from up there? Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So we're taking a little bit of a gamble here today because I'm actually not taking any of the vehicles to the shop. Rather, we're gonna be riding in style in the F-150 because today, boys, we're gonna try and go for the first shakedown in the Maiden voyage of Convict version 2. Plus, we might be making a visit to one of our friends that we haven't seen on the vlog in just a few days, but only time will tell. So we're back at the shop now. We got Jake doing a little bit of a detail on the exterior of this thing, getting off some of those caked down bugs in the front of this truck.
And it's not even summer yet.
And it's not even summer yet. The amount of bugs we're gonna catch is gonna be on an entirely new level, dude, with this massive front end on this thing.
Fortunately, we have enthusiast bug and tar remover, so it won't be an issue.
It does a very good job of getting that nonsense off. So here's a good look at Convict, guys. Second video on the channel where this dude is pretty much complete and ready to rock and roll. We've gone over everything. We're looking good, and we think we're ready to take this out on its first test drive, which we're gonna get to here in a minute. But first, we actually have to switch our focus over to Sarge's parts. So I got this really badass video from Brody over at Accelerate. They are making fantastic progress on the wrap. Maybe if it's in our schedule today, we'll try and stop over at the shop to get you guys an update on that. I'm really just not sure because we have a lot to do. Here's a video that Brody had actually just sent me. So yeah, they're making really good progress. I think they just have to hit that bed, the tailgate, and the hood, some little elements in the front and rear bumpers, and then we're gonna have ourselves a completed truck, but we're not gonna have ourselves a completed truck, and that's where we gotta get to work on a few things right now. All these parts right here are from Sarge. We've got mirrors, grills, rear badges, platinum badge, tow hooks, and headlights. These all have to go to their assorted local Lancaster-based businesses for some powder coat and for some paint. But before we drop anything off at paint, we actually have to get these new headlights open. This will be our first ever set of 2020 Ford style headlights that we're going to be cutting open. We've been looking forward to this day for a while, and finally it's here. So let's see how these things come apart. So we're especially excited today about cutting those ones open because it's a little bit different than any other headlight set that we've ever done. That's because we actually got ourselves a new fancy tool to do these fancy headlights. Also, these headlights, it's kind of interesting. Like, usually the low bulb is the high beam, but they, I guess, followed the name of low beam and they put it low on the headlight. On the back, now you have this huge cable that runs all the way from the low beam all the way up to the top, whereas usually it's just a little gear that's right up here. I don't know, just one of those little tiny things that you kind of notice when you start to look at these headlights on the back. I'm not seeing any, well actually I'm seeing a few bolts that we're gonna want to take off. It looks like they're 7 or 8 millimeters, so we'll probably want to take them off. But let's go ahead and cut it first, and we'll see if they're holding anything on for the time being.
Try to take it from me, must be out your mind. Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pump. Just running over with the color sun. Try to take it from me. Big time.
Look at that. That is so cool.
Is it glass? That's plastic.
That is really cool.
That is
how they make it
very unique piece.
that accessible. It just literally pulled right out, dude. Like I know, but it literally pulled out. Like I didn't force that at all.
Interesting.
We got them dissected, my friend. So we are actually going to be removing this amber, but it's pretty neat look from the inside out. This is your turn signal housing right here. Then you get this little piece that is essentially your bezel or your mount. And then this has an LED that shines through the front of the light and essentially just kind of slides in here and plugs in right there. But we are going to be deleting that amber. It's not going to make sense with the direction we're going with Sarge. Would it make sense?
It would not make sense.
It would not make sense. All right, boys. So now that we got one headlight open, that was the left side. We got to go ahead and get the right side done because, man, time is a ticking. Chop, chop. My friends, everything is prepped and ready to go to paint. We've got our 2 inner bezels on our 2020 F450 headlights that we just tore apart. Brand new spanking new, man. These came off of a truck with 1,400 miles. We've got the inner bezels. These are the pieces that kind of go in the back here. This isn't the right. These are the ones that are actually in the back. And then we've got some switchback smoked LEDs that are actually going to be going in place of the factory ones here on Sarge. They're going to go right there. These mirrors are actually going to be painted black and wrapped up top. And then all of this stuff is going to be painted black as well. It's going to come together awesome. Now switching direction on F450s, we've got pretty much full turn radius here on our 38s with a 4.5-inch lift except for right here on the extension of the bumper. So we are actually going to pull the bumper off and space it forward probably about 3/8 of an inch, probably not any more than that because we don't want to go with super chin status. And that should get us the clearance that we need. We actually want to run out for the first test drive of this. We've been holding out long enough for us personally and you guys. Oh, we have to pull the bumper off real quick.
Scared of heights? I'm not a big fan of this new lift.
You're way up there, bro.
I'm extremely high right
That thing is massive.
Pardon me and my tone. You can't step to my throne. They ain't working like
These to hold the bolts in. All right, my friends, this is time. The Maiden voyage has finally arrived.
Yeah, you're probably gonna run.
Should we do something about it?
Yeah, just don't turn full.
Should we just go and see?
Should we weld like an inch pump stock so you don't oversteer on the steering pump?
Yeah. These are gonna make our lives a million times easier keeping those spacers in because we can insert the bolt.
Yep.
I'll bring one with me just for precaution, but we got all 4 of them.
You want to take a bolt too?
Yeah, I knew you had a few screws loose. So now you're dropping your bolts everywhere, dog. What are you doing?
Oh god, that's crucial too.
you can't tame, cause I break the chains. Can't control me. I got the power. I got the keys. Cause I break the chains.
Dang, bro.
Snugly as ever, my
Hey,
friend.
now just remember when you go to put it into 4-wheel drive, it's not gonna work because I don't think we hooked up the vacuum
No, our
lines.
vacuum line's not connected, but it's all good. Hopefully it stays warm for the next few days. I don't know. We'll see. We live in Pennsylvania, so it's never a guarantee. So we got the bumper off, and we did do a quick little shakedown drive. Let me lighten things up here a little bit. And so far, so good. I've got some really, really important things that I need to mention to you guys, but we're going to do that when we're actually out and driving. I wanted to get the full effect with the bumper on, just to verify that we're good to go. That way we don't have to mess with this later. So we went went out to the local hardware store, B&G Lumber over in Elizabethtown, and we picked up some spacers. We are going to use the pre-existing bumper bolts. We are going to throw 5 of them in, which equates to roughly 3/8 of an inch. I don't want to go out any further because I don't want to look like Mr. Chin. 3/8 should do the trick.
Please excuse me, your honor, but you can't hold me no longer. Can't you feel the vibrations? I broke out and left traces. Go ahead, try catch me if you can, man. You'll be looking all night, I'm the Sandman. New York, London to Japan. I'ma show the whole world who I am. Maiden.
This thing's the best.
Yeah.
The best tool ever. Now this is the complete look that I'm talking about, my friends. If you got the bump back and reinstalled, here's a quick little look for you guys. I know a lot of you hesitate about spacing your bumper forward because you really don't want that underbite or like super chin or the crimson chin style on your truck. And I found that in my experience, 1/2 of an inch can probably be right on that line of like, all right, something looks off. But 3/8 of an inch seems to be very, very appropriate. It's enough to where you can actually identify a truck's bumper's been spaced by looking at the front bumper to front fender ratio. You can see right there's where our gap comes in, but 1/2 an inch does tend to be a little bit too much. We're actually free and clear from rubbing and full turn on the passenger side, but with these straight axle trucks, it's pretty much impossible to always truly spec for spec center out the axle. We had to set the track bar at 38 inches, which is exactly where it's at, and we are getting a little bit of contact right here on the fender flare extension on the bumper that is essentially proprietary to the F450. It's not enough for me to really stress though, so we're just gonna go ahead and send it. My friends, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. Let's go on our first cruise together.
Give all you got, cause I break the chains. Can't control me. I got the power. I got the keys. Cause I break the chains. They try to
Was the $10,000 roughly, all things considered, shipping, this, that, and the other, BMF lift kit worth the cost? We did a really big change here. It's not like we just threw another coil spring in its little perch. We converted the front end to a coilover, and not just any coilover. We're talking a king coilover of all coilovers. Arguably one of the most expensive shocks that you can get. I'd always wanted to do it just to do it. I'd always admired all those trucks on Instagram back in the day that had king shocks, and I always had been curious about, like, really truthfully, was it worth it? In complete honesty, I just haven't had enough time behind the wheel to actually give you guys a consensus on that, but what I can tell you is a little bit of what I'm noticing right off of the get-go. So first things first, the front end naturally feels tighter, and that's mostly attributed to the fact that now we have a reinforced dual steering stabilizer on the tie rods. So this back and forth movement that's kind of natural to all solid axle trucks is just a little bit more tight. It's just tighter. It's still kind of there a little bit, not as much, but we are in a bigger tire too, so that's kind of going to gradually want to grab some of the ruts in the road. But it feels really good. I was just cruising on the highway. We were doing 75 miles an hour, grabbing some rollers that you guys had just seen. Jake's behind us here in Lucifer, as a matter of fact, and it feels really, really good. Now that brings us to the dual coilover and shock setup. Not only do we have a king shock with an external reservoir, but now we have a coilover with a reservoir, and naturally that coilover is going to have a lot more compression and rebound activity. It's going to be more lively than just a coil spring that's literally just a hardened steel spring that sits in its place. The whole ride on this truck feels softer, smoother, and it definitely handles bumps a lot differently. It doesn't feel like you're kind of bouncing and skipping over the bumps with that really stiff steel spring. Rather, it actually feels like it's riding the bumps. So as it hits a bump, it compresses, and then it rebounds, and then prepares for the other bump. Compresses, rebounds, compresses, rebounds, compresses, rebounds. Whereas with the coil spring, I feel like it kind of just bounces up, and then it just bounces all over every single bump, which is why I would typically avoid all the bumpy patches that I knew of in my immediate area. Boys, we made a real quick stop over to Lime Ridge Automotive. We may or may not have just secured a really exclusive, super rare truck that one is not going to find. It is truly a one-of-a-kind truck, and you'll see why when it comes to the time of debuting it, but it's not happening anytime soon. Believe me, guys, you're gonna love what's in store. It may or may not have to do with what I talked about some months back about building the OG 2.0, except the candidate for it is something that you guys are going to be mind blown about. So we have my F450 next to Sam's new 2020 F450. He just recently picked this one up. This is his silver one that actually replaced the black one, which is now becoming Sarge at Accelerate Auto. You can see why though. He saw this thing online and immediately fell in love with it. It's a really, really nice setup. It is quickly becoming F450 Nation on the vlog. Who would have thought a year ago that we would have had 3 2020 F450s kind of just casually in circulation? And that brings us out to the back of the trucks. Oh my God, the thickness is real. It actually looks like Sam's got a little bit more of a gap between his wheels, whereas I really don't. And we are running, whereas he's on specialty forged and I'm on JTX. You can see those 38-13.5s really fill out the gap between those two tires. Whereas I believe Sam, what's he on there, Jake? Is that a 35-12.5? 35-12.50 here on Sam's truck, both of which look really, really good. The stance is about even though on these specialty forged wheels versus the JTX. I think it's a pretty common thing when you're looking at the back of dualies, and that stance is just ever so proper for the hip factor that's on these trucks. I'm really not gonna lie at all. This platinum badge paint matched with the contrasted letters looks really, really good. That may or may not be a spoiler alert for what we're doing. Wait, what? What are you talking about? Huh?
Beautiful weather.
Oh, wow, look at the clouds. And just like that, boys and girls, so we are chilling back up at the Homestead. It is very windy right now, so I'm gonna kind of make this quick because I don't want you guys to suffer through bad audio quality. That one is not, nor do I want anybody that's editing this video to suffer through the same painful reverberation that happens from wind. I guess it kind of happens from living up at the top of a mountain. But anyway, boys, we've got Convict version 2 home, and version 2 is now in process. It is so exciting to see this truck. From what I envisioned over 4 months ago at this point in time, I knew I was getting an F450, and I knew I wanted to do a setup just like this with 24s, big old meaty tire 38s, and a 4.5-inch lift kit to balance that perfect harmony of a ton of meat that fills out the wheel well while maintaining drivability and not all that much height. We got it lifted up. It sets itself apart from the rest. It stands out without a question of a doubt, but it's not super skyjacked because I'm really not about massively jacked up trucks. I respect them without a question of a doubt, but it's just not my build style. I love to really kind of walk that very fine, very specific line of calculating the proper wheel and tire size to the proper lift kit without going too high, because in my opinion, when done right, it is so perfect. It really hits on that OEM plus note. Obviously a little rough right now because we're still waiting on a front wheel cap from JTX. We still want to get those spike lug nuts black. I know you guys like them chrome. I also think that the chrome really works on the truck right now, but the chrome actually will be going away, so they would kind of just be too random at that point in time. We're also waiting for our spike caps to come in for the rear. We've got to get these big old dualies looking harmonious to the front. We do have these absolutely sick semi lugs, 33 millimeters. I had to go out and actually pick up a specialized socket just for these things. It says on here you can tighten these down anywhere between 450 to 500 foot-pounds, which is obviously a little ludicrous for our specific need. I do have a slight rubbing problem here in the front. I'll actually show you guys, nothing to hide. It is rubbing right there right now, and on the other side it is actually not. It looks like it slightly made contact a very, very little bit. But what that tells me is I might be able to make some adjustments with the drop traction bar on this thing to try and just bump the front axle over slightly to the left, which might actually buy us the clearance that we need. If not, it's actually not rubbing on the bumper specifically, the steel, it's this plastic cap. So I might have to trim a little bit of the inside out of that, but in my opinion, it's not bad because you're not even cutting metal. It's just a plastic piece. There's no denying the fact that when you're trying to walk this fine line of the least amount of lift possible with the most amount of wheel and tire possible, and offset, when you throw that into kind of this formula that needs to be calculated, you're always going to run into slight rubbing issues, whether you're DURTYMAX, Power Stroke, or Cummins fans. It's just kind of the price you have to pay to achieve the look that you want to achieve. In my opinion, it's just part of the process, and it's what makes it all the more worthwhile and exciting when you actually get it to work and you have full turn radius. And everybody asks, how? But as you guys know, I'm not about keeping secrets. I'm just trying to share all of my passions with you guys through this YouTube channel. Really, at the end of the day, this is just a platform to share everything, literally everything that I do that once was a hobby that has kind of become more full-time for me with you every single day, because I know that you guys appreciate those same things, and I'm oh so grateful for that. So that being said, guys, if you want to grab some entries for Dream Diesel giveaway number 17, your entries get submitted not only for the truck and the $30,000 cash, but also those 3 PlayStations and those 3 Xboxes. So 6 additional winners will result of this week's entries, but it's only this week, so just bear that in mind. Check out the website for all of the additional details. Hit that subscribe button, like button, and notification bell if you guys haven't already. If you're considering it, shop around a little bit more. You're more than welcome. It won't cost a dime. Thanks as always, guys, and we'll see you all in the next upload.